It's been 100 days since Donald Trump took the oath of office. Whether it was with hope or fear, many thought he'd change the world. Today, he reignited his campaign themes with a rally in Pennsylvania, setting out what he's already done and what he still plans to do. Donald Trump himself made a 100-day contract with the American people, promising to implement 27 measures, from building the wall along the Mexican border to repealing Obamacare. So far, he's met just 11 of those. He's signed 32 executive orders in the period, the most of any president since World War II, and hosted 16 foreign leaders at the White House. This week, he'll have his first face-to-face meeting with Australia's Prime Minister. And he's tweeted 507 times, then deleted 11 of them. It's a presidency that remains as divisive as ever. Our North America correspondent Zoe Daniel was with the president today as he travelled back to one of the states that delivered him the White House.
At this point in time, Donald Trump is the least popular new president in US history. But for the faithful who turned out today, it doesn't matter. Donald Trump always said he would be an alternative president. And on that point, he says he's still delivering.
100 days in, it's back to the future, campaigning in Pennsylvania. The president bucked tradition, skipping the White House Correspondents' Dinner to be here, all part of the anti-establishment persona that got him elected.
I could not possibly be more thrilled than to be more than 100 miles away from Washington Swamp, spending my evening with all of you and with a much, much larger crowd and much better people, right?
While he's recently dismissed the 100-day milestone as a measure of success, it was a benchmark he set for himself, and he can't resist it.
I promised you in my inaugural address 100 days ago that now arrives the hour of action, and we've, believe me, started from day one.
The event was run not by the White House, but by the Trump campaign.
Merchandise comes with an 8-year guarantee. Just ask me how. That's 2 terms, you know now. Oh, Donald J. Trump 2020.
They came from everywhere to celebrate their president. The report card was positive.
A+, A+, A++.
Here in Donald Trump's heartland, jobs resonate most.
He put all these coal miners back to work right away.
In the group, Mark McMullen from Pittsburgh. He remains a staunch supporter, but there's room for improvement.
He's got a lead now. The campaign's over, 100 days in. He's had some shortcomings, but let's focus on policy and moving forward.
While the faithful came together, 100 miles away, the White House press corps pushed on without the president.
I get why Donald Trump didn't want to be roasted tonight. By the looks of him, he's been roasting nonstop for the past 70 years.
We are not fake news. We are not failing news organizations. And we are not the enemy of the American people.
In Washington and cities around the world, protesters gathered, opposing the administration's policies on climate change.
We won't go away! Welcome to your 100th day!
And there may be more to protest soon. The president's soon to decide whether he'll pull out of the Paris Climate Accord.
I'll be making a big decision on the Paris Accord over the next 2 weeks.
It's been vintage Donald Trump tonight, attacking the media, the DC establishment and Hillary Clinton, much as he did during last year's campaign. But he's no longer just a candidate. He's the president. And campaigning for 2020 seems a little premature, but he's still grappling with how to do the job just 100
So we have currency
None of that matters here. These people, once forgotten, have time and patience.
We will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
On the campaign trail in 2016, Donald Trump's worldview was always qualified with a promise to put America first. But as president, his isolationist rhetoric has changed. He's launched missiles into Syria, angering Russia. He's spoken fondly of China, and he's threatened North Korea's dictator with military action. Here's the ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Philip Williams.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
When Donald Trump took office, the world was wondering what it all meant. That question is far from answered, but he has shown a breathtaking ability to find reverse gear. Take China, stealing US jobs, trading unfairly, creating a massive trade deficit. That was Donald Trump, presidential candidate, last October.
I will direct my Secretary of the Treasury to label China a currency manipulator. China is a currency manipulator.
Then, after meeting with the Chinese President Xi Jinping...
Now, we have to have a little flexibility. And I think it's not exactly the right time to call China a currency manipulator right now. Do we agree with that?
In other words, help control North Korea and we won't start a currency or trade war, for now. The pressure on China to stop Pyongyang's nuclear program is intense, with the ongoing threat, if China can't or won't do it, the US will. As for relations with Vladimir Putin's Russia, it was all looking so promising back in January.
If Putin likes Donald Trump, I consider that an asset, not a liability.
But as investigations into alleged Russian hacking of the US election and links with Trump associates gathered momentum, the Russian bromance was off. After these shocking pictures of a gas attack in Syria, Donald Trump ordered this. Tomahawk missiles hit the military airfield where the US said the Syrian warplanes that dropped the chemical weapons were based. But there were Russian planes and crew there too. Moscow was furious. Talk of fighting together against Islamic State was over. Add to that US military accusations the Russians are arming the Taliban in Afghanistan, and instead of a relationship reset, it feels like the old Cold War. And with that frozen reality with Moscow comes a sudden warming towards NATO, an institution he questioned throughout his campaign.
I think NATO may be obsolete, and NATO was set up a long time ago.
3 weeks later,
I said it was obsolete. It's no longer obsolete.
A sentiment backed by Vice President Pence.
The United States of America strongly supports NATO and will be unwavering in our commitment to this transatlantic alliance.
As for Iran's nuclear program, the president had described the deal done with the Obama administration as a disaster, one he would scrap. He hasn't yet. Donald Trump did deliver on a promise to abandon the Trans-Pacific Partnership, dashing Australia's hopes for a big boost to trade. We, of course, have an enormous stake in Donald Trump's view of the world. It's a perspective that's often hard to read, sometimes contradictory, but as our strategic partner, the US cannot be ignored. That's especially important on China and North Korea, where the rhetoric of conflict grows disturbingly real every day.
Philip Williams reporting. While Donald Trump is less popular than other presidents at the same stage, polling shows that only 2% of those who voted for him regret doing so, and that 96% of those who voted for him would do so again. Overall, there's a view among his supporters that he started much of what he said he would do, and he needs time to finish it. Criticism of failed policy is seen as yet another attempt by the media and the political establishment to bring him down without giving him that chance. 100 days in, Donald Trump has completed less than 7% of his first term in office. For now, that's all from Pennsylvania.
US correspondent Zoe Daniel there.